back, YouTubers. I am Jason Wiersema. That is Gregory. That back there is Hampton the Bear. And we are going to get into some top 5 running back busts for 2019. But before we get into all that, I'd like you to go ahead and mash the piss out of that like button and give us a subscribe if you haven't already to help get this tanker rocket ship filled with the rocket fuel and loaded with the Warriors. And we're going to get right into the top 5 running back busts. We're going to lead it off with some Devontae Freeman.
Devontae Freeman, just with the injury last year, it's a little sketchy now, you know? I mean, he's never really had that many successful years, too.
Yeah, I mean, he's still kind of young. He's still like 26 going on 27, which did surprise me. Him and Le'Veon Bell are about the same age, but I'm just convinced like the wheels are falling off, and maybe the Atlanta running back situation isn't really that valuable of a situation, because you look at it last year and neither of those guys, and Tevin Coleman, or who was that other Jimbroni they had running the ball? Ito Smith out there. He was not. He had like one game. Everybody got all hopped up in their pretty little new pet scenario, and then they blew their free agent load on him, and then he let you down out there. I mean, you look at it, Devontae Freeman is going in the middle of the 4th round in PPR leagues at 4.6, going right around guys like Sony Michel, Tariq Cohen, Kerryon Johnson, Darius Geist, Marlon Mack, Derrick Henry. And I mean, I'm talking about give me all of those guys over Devontae Freeman.
I mean, Devontae Freeman's only had 2,000-yard rushing seasons. His best average yards per game was actually last year, 4.9 yards per game last year. So, I mean, when he did rush, he was kind of effective out there, but I don't know. Like you said, I think the wheels are falling off.
Yeah, you're looking at running backs, flip it around, you look at wide receivers, because, you're fit, you're kind of getting into more of a drafting, possibly flex options at that point. You're looking at wide receivers that are going in that Cooper Kupp area. We're talking about guys like Cooper Kupp, Julian Edelman, Kenny Galladay, Brandon Cooks, I think Robert Woods. I think they're all going. I think all 3 of those Rams wide receivers are going from the late 3rd to the early 5th, just right in that bubble there. And again, I would take all of them.
Yes, definitely.
over Devontae Freeman.
I mean, I don't really want any Devontae Freeman stock. I mean, I just...
Yeah, I'm not about it. He was going like mid-3rd last year, and he like missed basically the entire season. And now we're only knocking him down around because Tevin Coleman left town. I mean, I don't know if this is just a scenario. I mean, the Falcons are going to be hucking and chucking football. They got Julio, they got Calvin Ridley, who's going to probably take a step forward this year. I just don't see Devontae Freeman returning to that RB1 form. I just don't see it.
Yeah, that Austin Hooper too. Austin Hooper's he's all right out there at tight end.
Hooper be damned.
All right.
We got another Busky. We got some Leonard Fournette, captain, red flag.
I mean, just another guy who the injuries.
Lower body injuries constantly. The guy has apparent character issues coming from the sideline, throwing punches, and he spoke out against the front office, which then apologized for it. But I'm just not about it. It's just too many red flags for me. He still plays for a dumpster fire team in Jacksonville. I'm not sure that Nick Foles isn't going to turn back into that pumpkin like he did the first time he left Philadelphia.
Yeah, and I just don't think he'll be able to keep it together for a full season. I just don't think 16 games of being that guy.
I mean, his price has gone down a little bit since last year. He's going in that mid to late first last year. He's going early 3rd right now. He's going 3rd pick in the 3rd. But you're looking at guys that are going after him. And I mean, like I said, with the Devontae Freeman, this is basically the same list of guys. But these guys are all going after Leonard Fournette. We're talking about Michelle, Phillip Lindsay, even Aaron Jones, Marlon Mack, Kerryon Johnson. I'm taking all of those. I'm taking all of those over Leonard Fournette. Besides Devontae Freeman, I'm taking Leonard Fournette over Devontae Freeman.
Yeah,
definitely for sure.
All right, who else we got out there?
Running back bust was
We got Chris Carson.
Chris Carson, I just don't think he can do it again.
Yeah, he only had 247 carries for 1,151 yards, 9 TDs. Only had 20 catches for 163 yards.
He was living and dying off those touchdowns.
Yeah. So he wasn't really getting it done through the passing game. And, I mean, the yards per carry just don't really... I don't really think he's that good.
Well, his fantasy value was strictly based upon heavy workload alone. Like, he was out there just getting carries and carries and carries. But I think Rashad Penny is going to take the step forward. I don't think there's any way the Seahawks can run the ball as many times as they did last year.
No. I think they're going to look to get back to passing the ball more around Russell Wilson. And I just don't see him having as good of a year as he did last year.
Yeah, I mean, he is getting that mid-third round. He's going mid-fifth round, going fourth pick in that fifth round. And I know running back starts to get a little dark at that time. You're looking at guys like Mark Ingram. But I would take Mark Ingram, Baltimore Raven Mark Ingram over him. I would.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think he's a low end RB2.
I think he's just too many writings on the wall, like a type of guy that could lose his job,
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be drafting guys that could potentially lose their job in the fifth round.
No, definitely not. That's definitely not what you're looking for.
These dudes are penciled in starters moving into your fantasy season. You don't want the overhead dark cloud of potential of them losing their job.
Yeah, he does run the ball hard, but I just don't think he's really that good of a running back. And then we got Le'Veon.
You think Le'Veon's going to busky out there? I mean, the volume is going to be there. That's definite. That's definite happening.
I just don't think where you draft him. I'm not exactly for sure where he's going.
He's going 7th pick overall as of today on the fantasy football calculator.
Yeah, that's a little sketchy for me. I would not like picking him in the first round. I just don't like the Jets team as a whole. I just don't think
guys going directly after him. You're going to take. We're talking about Melvin Gordon, talking about James Conner, David Johnson, Joe Mixon. How many of those guys are you taking over Le'Veon Bell?
Most of them. I mean, you're definitely taking Connor.
Nate Conner. Melvin Gordon. I think you give it to Melvin Gordon as well.
Gordon. I don't know about Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon, David Johnson.
David Johnson had kind of a bad year last year. He didn't really look that good.
His video does look good though. He still's got the speed. I think it was just the puke filth garbage Arizona Cardinals offense, but there's no signs of that turning around. So you can't really.
I think just at the end of the day, I think Le'Veon only cares about the money, and I think that now that he got his big money, I just think he's not going to care. He doesn't care about. I don't think he cares about winning.
Ooh, that's going to be a hard thing to do. Those New York guys will get after him though. If you want to go somewhere and not give a damn, I don't know if New York was the place to do it.
I just don't think he'll care.
But I do think you still draft him in ahead of David Johnson and Joe Mixon.
Yeah, I'd probably draft him ahead of those guys, but I mean he's a low end running back one, I'd say.
So we got him as the 8th running back. If we're moving him behind Gordon and Connor, you got him as the 8th running back.
Yeah, something like that, something around there. I think people just don't get your hopes up with Le'Veon.
I think that's where I had him. on our rankings, the rankings video earlier. But I think I did have him slightly in front of Connor. But I don't know. The Jets' offensive line was ranked 25th last year.
Yeah,
Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has a sophomore slump. We could be entering a very dark realm.
Yes. I just think this Jets team's not good. And I think that, I just don't think Le'Veon's...
And they brought in Jamison Crowder. I like Robbie Anderson, even though he has his troubles with the law as well. But, Quincy and Noon was still there. I think the Jets will be, they're going to be contending for second place in the AFC East like everyone else in that division that isn't the Patriots.
Yeah, but they're not going to be contending for a while. I don't think there's any way they contend for a wild card spot. I think this is still well below 500 team going into next year.
All right, we got some James White. I mean, a lot of guys have him. A lot of other podcasters have him as one of their top 5 busts. And, I mean, in full point PPR, with Burkhead milling around, dicking around, I think you got to kind of believe that but his draft spot is going, first pick of the 6th, last pick of the 5th is where he's at right now. And you look at these guys that are going around him, and you're like, maybe I should just go wide receiver here.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little early. I feel like Sony Michel's clearly the guy there. And then he's just going to be competing for touches with Burkhead.
After Sony Michel came back from that injury and Burkhead was healthy, we weren't seeing very much James White on that football field. How many touches did James White even get in that Super Bowl? 2? 3?
It wasn't many.
Burkhead and Sony Michel are on the football field.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, fifth, sixth round, I feel like that's way too early.
I think you got to strap it on and get one of these young, strapping wide receivers that are going around that same area, like a Chris Godwin, maybe a Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
Before you get James White.
Oh, yeah, I'd feel way more comfortable.
Deshaun Jackson's out of town. Chris Godwin's target share is probably going up. Bruce Arians in town, quarterback whispering out there.
Yeah.
And I like Calvin Ridley. I definitely like Calvin Ridley's potential, league-winning potential more than I like James White. James White was your sexy boy.
For a little bit there.
For like 8 or 9 weeks last year, he was like top 6 or 7 RB. It was insane.
Then once everybody got healthy, he just fell off.
He came back down to earth. Sony Michel got assimilated to the offense. Rex Burkhead, neck injury, got healthy. And then, James White started touching the ball 4 or 5 times a game like he usually did.
Yeah.
All right, baby.
Just that Patriot system. It's just so... You never know which.
I think Sony Michel is literally... besides Edelman, I will draft Edelman. But Sony Michel and Edelman are like the only fantasy Patriots that I even want to touch. I don't even really want any Tom Brady at all.
Yeah, if it's the right spot, I guess. Tom Brady, but...
His name alone is going to get him taken over guys like that even shouldn't be considered over. Tom Brady's going to be going probably... Oh, my goodness. Let me look at this. Tom Brady's going over Roethlisberger, Tom Brady. I'm talking about taking guys like Josh Allen and Jameis Winston over Tom Brady at this point. I think Jameis Winston finally with Bruce Arians is going to become that QB1 for you. Woo!
I don't know. I like
Jameis.
Baby! I like Jameis, but I don't know.
Peeing off porches has finally paid off.
Them interceptions. I just think he's too...
Clanging banging.
He's too reckless with that ball out there.
Only negative 1 point interceptions in most leagues, baby. Clang it and bang. That just means the other team's scoring. It means he has to get back out there and clang and bang.
I guess.
All right. You like the cut of our jib? Give us some subscribe. Give us a share. Give us those comments below. Get those comments pumping, people. We like to converse with our fans about fantasy football out there. We just love talking some fantasy stories. Cheeseburger.